What happens if the United States defaults on its $35 trillion national debt? This isn't a distant theoretical question. It's a live wire running straight through the heart of the global economy, and it's sparking. For decades, Washington spent freely, borrowed heavily, and assumed the world would keep lending. But now, with interest payments surpassing $1 trillion a year and a debt-to-GDP ratio at 120%, even the US looks fragile. Let's break it down. First, the bond market would explode. Treasuries, long seen as the safest investment on Earth, would lose their status overnight. Investors would flee, interest rates would spike, and credit markets, from mortgages to student loans, would lock up. Second, the dollar's dominance would be in jeopardy. Right now, most of the world's trade and reserves revolve around the US dollar. But a default could drive countries, especially rivals like China and Russia, to dump the dollar and seek alternatives. Think that's unlikely? Look at the BRICS bloc. Look at the rising use of the yuan in oil deals. The shift has already begun. Third, the US economy would fall into a severe recession. Public programs would shut down. Social security checks could be delayed. Federal workers furloughed. Consumer confidence shattered. And if the Federal Reserve prints money to cover the gap, inflation could spiral. If it doesn't, the economy could grind to a halt. Meanwhile, Europe would be caught in the crossfire. Financial institutions across the continent hold US debt. European exports depend on US demand. NATO, the IMF, the global trade system, they all rely on American stability. A US default would be a geopolitical earthquake. And here's the deeper fear. What if the default isn't sudden but slow? What if inflation quietly erodes the value of the debt? What if America's soft power fades? Not with a bang, but with a shrug. That's why Europe must prepare. Not because it wants America to fall, but because it cannot afford to fall with it. The age of dollar-based certainty is fading. What replaces it is still up for grabs. But the clock is ticking. If you found this video thought-provoking, give it a like and share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel for more analysis on transatlantic politics, global strategy, and the future of power. And visit westernrelations.com for in-depth political insight with a European lens.